yesterday, we should be always ready to vote in every election. This election is probably the most pivotal election that we will see in our lifetime. So right now, yesterday, don't wait. Don't do anything that will prevent you from voting. Get rid of that now. Go ahead and deal with your questions about whether or not you should or not. Do that now and get clear, because this is not the election to sit out.
We should have begun to prepare for the 2020 election right after the 2016 election, because it's very important to prepare and plan to look ahead to the future and even beyond to the 2024 as well. So we should always be thinking about the underlying reasons why we didn't have turnout in 2016 to begin working on that toward 2020.
We can't afford to wait for anything anymore. We need to be totally conscious of what this political climate is about. We need to be totally aware of what the tricks and games are about. And that ought to tell us straight up that we don't have any time to wait for anything. So now you get prepared, you get your transportation plan ahead of time, you get your ID ready, you get your community aware and educated on what the real needs are. You contact those citizens in your family who's not quite as inquisitive and smart as you about politics, and you educate all of them of the absolute need to vote in 2020.
You know, I told somebody not long ago, if it weren't important that black people vote, people wouldn't go through so many efforts to keep them from voting. When I think about the lengths that we have gone through to secure the vote, when I think about Bloody Sunday, when I think about what we've done up until the incident where somebody in Alabama, Shelby County in particular, decided that we didn't need the Voting Rights Act anymore. They go through exorbitant lengths to suppress the vote, to keep black people from voting. If it weren't important, they wouldn't do that. I want to just lift up the most recent incident of why voting is important. The state of Alabama just recently passed an abortion ban where 25 white men and a white woman who signed the legislation decided that Alabama's women did not have any rights over their bodies. These were elected officials. So if we could elect them, we could unelect them by voting for people who have our interests at heart. So that's just one example of why it is so important.
Well, fundamentally, it's because of the fact that our foreparents died. They shed blood, tears, hard work, and effort to get the right to vote. That's the number one reason we should never forsake all the work they've done. Secondly, it's because of the fact that we're governed by the laws of this country. So as a result of not voting, we don't have a voice. And thirdly, it's because when we vote, whether we determine the outcome, our numbers are important, because then we're heard in a way. We can use the numbers that we have in voting to impact and direct the legislation that goes on in this state and this county. It's very important for us to also, and the final reason is that it's because we have to be a living example for our children and our grandchildren. It's very important that we talk the talk, but also we walk the walk. Instead of just saying we should vote and we don't actually get out and vote, it's hypocritical. So we shouldn't be hypocrites. We should practice what we preach.
The vote is the only power that we have as a black citizen. If you count the money, we don't have the money. If you count the political connections and power, we don't have that. Even if you count the unity that ought to be among people, we don't really have that. But now, if you have an election that is won by 1, 2, or 3 votes, and if you exercise your vote, you can help to close the gap on whether a person wins or whether a person loses. And Many elections have been won by one vote. So if you don't vote, that person loses. That's best for you. If you do vote and get that person over, then you have exercised a power that nobody can take away. And it's kind of like my grandmother said about education. You get it, nobody can take it away. The vote, you use it, and nobody can diminish your power.